So good evening, everybody. Hello and welcome to this special session on COVID. I'm Ramesh Chandran, founder of BioBasics. And BioBasics, for those of you who don't know much about BioBasics, we retail and promote organic foods across India. And our website is in the chat box. Madhu, if you can just write our website address in the chat box so that everyone can see what the address is. We have been conducting for the past year or more, ever since Corona began actually, a series of sessions on Zoom with the basic purpose of sharing some information and knowledge and insights into topics that matter to all of us. And you can see more of these sessions in our YouTube channel as well. In today's special session on COVID, we'd like to discuss how we should or could respond to COVID from a food perspective. And as a disclaimer, I would like to say that this is not to replace any medication or treatment that is being advocated by doctors. This is just to share information on how to use food as a tool or as a support to either prevent infection or to help cure and finally recover from infection. So I request all of you to kind of keep that in mind. As all of you know, COVID is taking a heavy toll. Every day we come across statistics which is even depressing than the previous day. It's more serious than what most of us had thought initially, and even healthy individuals are being affected and even succumbing to it. So it is in that context that we were talking to our guest, Ms. Sandhya Manian, last week, and she mentioned that the government of Tamil Nadu has come out with an advisory on how to respond to COVID using our food. And we thought it would be a good idea to have her walk us through this advisory in this session. To introduce Sandhya here, Sandhya is a holistic nutritionist and also a natural farmer. She combines traditional Indian wisdom with modern science. She has educated many folks on simple yet sustained food practices, diet practices. She's done her master's in dietetics and food service management. She's worked in the wellness industry and now consults for her clients, helping them achieve their goals. And interestingly, she started this Wellness with Sandhya in 2019. You can check it out at Instagram and Facebook. So that's Wellness with Sandhya. Her contact details we'll provide at the end of the session as well. So feel free to collect those contact details and feel free to connect with her directly. She lives in Chennai with her family and is also into organic natural farming as well. So before I hand it over to Sandhya and we start the conversation, just wanted to let all of you know that this session is being recorded. So all of you are on mute, but we'd like to have this session as interactive as possible. So please type in your question as and when you have a question, just please feel free to write in that question in the chat box. And Madhu, who's our host here this evening, she'll pick it up from there and we'll have the Q&A with Sandhya as well. So I'm expecting this session to be about 30 to 45 minutes. So please stay with us till the end and we'll share the contact details of Sandhya and also BioBasics if you need to get in touch with us directly. I'd request all of you to kind of give your feedback also at the end of the session, which will make these sessions more productive in the future. So with that, Sandhya, thank you for joining us and this evening, and we look forward to hearing from you, learning from you. So over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Ramesh. Thank you for your introduction. And I know that our attention span has reduced from last year to now, so I'll keep it to the point and as short and crisp as possible. So I'm sharing the screen and is my slide visible?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Now?
Yeah. Now, yeah.
Okay. Sure. Yes. Okay. So the main purpose behind this program is that now that the rate of infection has increased, all of us are focused on how to recover and what to do, how to prevent. No, these are the questions that I'm facing almost every day. So let's get to the point. What happens with COVID is, with excess temperature, there is loss of muscle and there is loss of weight, but hardly any fat loss. So for those who are obese, please don't feel happy that there is weight loss. It's fat loss. There is no fat loss and there is only loss of muscle, which means there is more weakness in the body, and your tendency to gain weight after COVID is going to be more, and you're prone to much more metabolic disorders. Okay, so there is loss of muscle, and there is loss of smell, loss of appetite, and loss of energy. And even for people who have been working out regularly, what they say is their muscles become really spongy. No, they can feel it like sagging like a sponge. So we have to focus on building muscle, boosting immunity, and boosting the energy levels. This is the focus when you're affected with COVID. So as per National Institute of Nutrition, your calorie need is 25 to 30 kilocalories per kg body weight. For example, if you are a 60 kg person, then 1800 calories is your regular calorie need per day. And protein plays a major role now because you need to build your muscles and also boost your immunity, where protein becomes the major component. So it's 1 to 1.5 grams per kg body weight. So if a person is 60 kg, then at least 60 to 75 grams of protein per day in your diet on a daily basis. Okay, and this is going to be very difficult if you're a vegetarian. So you have to take care of your protein needs right from the morning drink to what you take in the night. And carbohydrates are very important, but you have to focus on taking it from unpolished grains and dals and not from the regular polished sources, because that is deprived of lot of other nutrition like your B complex, your thiamine and your riboflavin. Lot of other micronutrients are lost and fiber is lost. So it's very important when you take carbohydrates, you use only unpolished grains. And vitamin A, C, D, E, and zinc plays a crucial role in recovery and immunity. And within this last 1 year, there are a lot of research papers to say how having these in place improves one's ability to prevent the disease and also to overcome the disease.
So Sandhya, this list that you've given of the calorie requirements and protein requirement, is that for a normal individual or a person who's affected by COVID?
For a normal individual, depending on their goal, it can go slightly up or down. But when you're affected with fever, then this is the guideline. So basically it varies from 1300 to 1800 calories, because you also don't have much of digestive power when you're affected with fever. Yeah. So this is Ayush Path. Your Government of India and Government of Tamil Nadu has released this. You can also see it in their website. This is basically 4 parts of tulsi, 2 parts of cinnamon sticks, 2 parts of dry ginger, and 1 part of pepper. You just take all of this and crush it, have it as in the powder form, add it to 150 ml of water, boil the water, filter and drink either with lemon juice or with country sugar or both. Okay, so for people who don't have access to fresh tulsi leaves, you can buy Ayush Path. It is available in the market in any of the stores or online also nowadays. So it is available in the form of powder or tablets. Or if you have access to fresh tulsi leaves, then just add a handful of tulsi leaves and all the other spices mentioned here, and boil and filter, and then you can use the same decoction for twice or thrice in a day. Don't use it for the next day. Okay, so maybe then you can make the powder of cinnamon, dry ginger, and pepper. So every day you take tulsi leaves and add the powder, 2 grams of this powder to fresh tulsi leaves and a glass of water, boil, filter, and drink this. And if you're diabetic, then it's better you avoid the sugar and just have it with lemon juice. If you feel lemon juice is irritating your throat, then it's better to avoid lemon juice also and just have the decoction. This is one of the major things that is given even in the hospitals and in the government hospitals. This is boosting immunity, and it is boosting the ability to breathe. No, it gives space for the alveoli to expand. So it's very important to overcome the condition and also to prevent condition. So if you're not someone who's affected with COVID, still you can drink it at least once in a day to prevent and boost your immunity levels. If you're affected, then at least twice a day.
So Sandhya, this one, is it, I'm sorry, I just wanted to clarify. Is that, so this is just boiling the water, not reducing it, right? It's just boiling the water.
This is just boiling the water.
You don't have to reduce it.
You don't have to reduce it like kashayam that you make. This you can just boil with water and then have it. Still a teaspoon will be reduced because that's when the boiling state is reached. That is fine. Yeah. These are the other herbs that are beneficial, especially during COVID situation. The first one is your betel leaf. If you have access to betel leaf, fresh betel leaf, then that's great. The second picture that you're seeing, the long pod, the slightly longer pod, it's nothing but long pepper. It's called tipali or pipali. Okay, tipali in Tamil and pipali in Hindi. The next one is clove and licorice or adimaduram. Then this is long pepper sticks. So pepper grows like a wine, just like betel leaf. The pepper leaf is also going to be like that, which is called tipali leaf. That is also helpful in curbing cold related issues. The stem is also helpful in curbing cold, and the seeds are also helpful in curbing cold. All of these belong to the pepper family. So there are different varieties of pepper. The one that we use in regular cuisine is the round ball one, which is a cluster, and the same cluster in the smaller forms is slightly different variety, specifically used when there is excess body weight, body pain, and when there is loss of appetite, and also when there is excess cold. Then ginger from your kitchen is again a super beneficial stuff when there is excess cold or cold related issues. And all of these have been proven that these are all beneficial, not only from Siddha basis, but also from allopathic basis. Lot of researchers to say that these are beneficial. So make sure to include at least 3 to 4 of these in your diet on a daily basis. So how you can include all of this? Basically just making your rasam, and in your rasam incorporating either betel leaves or long pepper, and having a tea that is made of ginger, and having your water boiled with clove, and just chewing on licorice sticks. These are the simplest ways to incorporate all of these in your daily life, not only after getting affected by COVID, but also before, to prevent COVID. So these are some of the Siddha recipes that's been given by the government of Tamil Nadu. The first one is lemon peel, just one peel of lemon, of one whole lemon, just the peel, not the juice. Okay, and one amla, and 2 slices of ginger, quarter teaspoon of pepper powder, quarter teaspoon of jeera powder, and 1 pinch of turmeric. Okay, just boil all of this together with about 2 glasses of water. Bring it down to 1.5 glass of water, and add salt to taste, and just drink this twice a day. This is one recipe. If you feel amla is not suitable for you, usually it suits when it is taken in hot form, but still if you feel you're over prone to chillness, then there are other recipes where you can just grind betel leaves, about 10 nos of betel leaves, just grind it to paste in a mixie jar and add warm water. Okay, now take this extract, add 2 teaspoons of honey, mix it and drink it as the first thing in the morning. All the phlegm that is in the upper part of your chest, it will just come up. So this is a wonderful remedy to bring up the phlegm. And personally, I have used this along with ginger for my children and for myself, generally for cold ailments where the cold gets prolonged for more than a month or 2. This is another simple recipe where it's you use the omavalli leaves or ajwain leaves, and to your drinking water, just add a bunch of these leaves and then boil and then filter, and then you can drink this water through the day. Or other simple ways, if you don't know to do any of these or don't have the energy to do any of these, then just chop it like how you chop the coriander leaves and add Then for lunch, it's best to stick to unpolished rice or semi-polished rice. If you are someone who's already used to millet, then a portion of millet is fine. And what's more important is to increase the fluid status in lunch, and also some amount of dal, of which moong dal is most easiest on your stomach and doesn't cause any dosha imbalance. So it's best to stick to moong dal for a while. And pepper or lemon ginger rasam or amla rasam. If you don't know to make any of the special rasams, then just make your regular rasam. I'll tell you certain things that can be added later, which is a shortcut. Okay, so make sure you're having 2 vegetables. One vegetable which is more of more solid and not very watery in content, like your broad beans or your beans or cabbage or broccoli or cauliflower, something like that. And the other greens, other thing, let it be greens where you try to source greens from the local, which is more like your amaranth. There are lots of varieties. Apart from this, there are moringa and then manatakali. You know, these. I'm not sure what is the English name for all of these greens, but if you can check out for local greens, then you will be able to source at least 1 or 2 different types of greens. So cook the greens very well with moong dal, and this is the season where you get greens in really good quality. Why? Because nature knows that we are prone to more types of viral disorders during this season, and that's why if you observe, our traditional practice is not to have anything fried or sugary during the season. With your April 14th New Year, everything is gone. All your celebration with sweets is gone, and you're introducing neem flower. And from there on, it goes on till September, where only in Vinayaka Chaturthi you are introducing some kind of sweet in your diet, that too only in steamed form. And it's only during Diwali you have something that is fried. So from Diwali to Pongal, all your celebration is done, because that's when you have the maximum potential to digest food that is heavy, like sweets and all the fries. So this is the season in general itself to not take anything that is sweet or to not take anything that is fried. And this is the season to eat lot of vegetables and greens. So please make use of greens and take it on a daily basis, or at least 4 to 5 days in a week. Okay. And if you are given buttermilk, then make sure that the buttermilk is seasoned either with dry ginger powder or with jeera or with angaya powder, which is available online. If you don't know to make the recipe, then just buy it online. Or you can also use neem flower. If you can just collect neem flower like this, or you also get it in the shops. Okay, so neem flower is something that is found abundant now. It's very, very important to include these, and that's why it's been symbolically kept in our tradition to introduce neem flower during your New Year or your Vishu. Okay, so make use of neem flower. So wherever you see neem flower, incorporate it in your rasam or in your buttermilk. You just have to roast it in a small amount of ghee, and you can bottle it. So anytime you eat lunch, just take the bottle and then use it. The other thing that you can also use is your turkey berry. Okay, sundaka is in English, it's called turkey berry. So either use fresh sundaka or buy the vattal, the dried ones, no? And you can also roast it with ghee and powder it and crush it along with rice. You can either take it in lunch or add it with your buttermilk and drink. With buttermilk, you have to be it's specific, more specific. So in general, I can say it's good for health. But if your phlegm rate is too high, then it's better to stay away from buttermilk and any milk products for at least 2 weeks. Okay. So again, by 4 p.m., try to have one more dose of herb tea or Ayushwat. And through the day also, you can sip on water that's boiled with spices, something like this. Just have it warm. It's not only during COVID or during quarantine or post, even before that, no, or I think almost all of us have some degree of COVID infection, where each of us have some dry throat or tingling sensation and some amount of phlegm in the morning. So it's always better to have water boiled with spices and drink it warm through the day. If not through the day, at least twice or thrice in a day. And around 5 o'clock, please have some snack that is rich in protein and easy on your gut. Something like a cowpea sundal. Sundal is nothing but your steamed lentil, okay? Or green gram sundal or roasted gram. If you don't have the time to cook and if you don't have any help and support, then choose the options that are simple. And things like roasted gram will just save your time. You just have to store it and then eat. Things like amla will not take much of your time. Things like guava will not take much of your time. You don't even have to peel or cut. So choose options that are more friendly to you depending on your immediate situation. Okay. And dinner, try to keep it as soft as possible, like dal khichdi or vegetable rava upma or rice porridge. So depending on how much you can chew or how much you are liking the food, make it in such a way that it's easy on you, easy on your digestive system. At the same time, do not miss the protein equation and the vegetable equation, because you're prone to constipation even if one day's diet goes wrong. So make sure that there is enough water, there is enough protein, because you're losing a lot of muscle on a daily basis, and make sure that there is some amount of vegetable in your diet. Okay. So what happens when you have lot of difficulty with throat? You can't eat any solid food, not even the mashed ones. So that's when you have to resort to liquid diets. So you can have the same herbal tea in the morning, and then around 8:30, red rice porridge, something like maple samba or any of the red rice, especially maple samba because of the zinc content very high in it. So take it with rasam or make your porridge with some vegetable and jeera and pepper powder. Or you can also have steel cut oats porridge with vegetables, or a moong dal porridge is also helpful, but best not to take it in a highly sweetened form. So depending on what is your liking, you can have sweet, but keep it very, very, very minimal. And when you use sweet, please do not use regular sugar. It's better to use sugar that is sulfur free and least processed. So a country sugar is a better choice, or a coconut sugar is a better choice. And then around 10:30, it's always important to maintain a 2-hour gap, because you're also prone to gastritis, and because you don't like to eat, if you leave a long gap, then there is tendency for ulcer and gastritis in a week or even in a 10 days time. So eat on time, have a time discipline, and eat something for every 2 hours. Okay, and especially if you're on a liquid diet, then it's even more important to maintain the gap. Around 10:30, it's either a simple rasam or a dal soup. And then 11:30, you have amla tea or a lemon tea or any of the herb tea. But in a given day, see to that there is at least lemon once or amla once in a day, so that you get enough vitamin C in your diet. And in the lunch, make your dal khichdi really liquidy, or your pongal in such a gruel form, or just rice which is mashed, and you blend it in your blender along with rasam and make it really liquid. You can also make a porridge. So if you don't have time to cook, if you don't have anybody to help you, just cook rice and rasam and one vegetable and use it for 2 meals in a day. But make sure that the rice and the rasam is mashed well and you're incorporating a lot of liquid. And if you don't know to make any of the rasams, then at least add jeera and pepper powder as a topping to your rasam. Okay, if you're a non-vegetarian, then mutton bone broth soup is a good thing to add. If buttermilk suits you, then please take it seasoned with neem leaf powder or dry ginger powder or angaya pudi, as already mentioned. Then around 4 p.m. it's either nut milk or dal soup. And around 5 o'clock, have some tea with ginger. And 7 o'clock, maintain the timings. It's very important. So it can go anywhere. If it's 7, it can go up to 8 p.m. But a late night dinner is definitely not suggested during sickness. And so your dinner can be just soup, one bowl, or broken rice porridge. So if you feel a little better, then add 30% of dal, moong dal, to your broken rice porridge. Okay. So after the 14-day quarantine, the week 1 and 2, if you still feel that the phlegm levels are high, there is the tendency for mucus is high, then please avoid fruits that are watery, and please avoid milk, curd, and buttermilk, because these are foods that have, although they are very high in many nutrients, they also have the tendency to increase the mucus content in the body. So for a while, make sure that you are getting all of the essential nutrients from other sources, and keep the fruits and milk products low or completely avoid. So from week 3 onwards, continue your herbal tea in the morning, and then around 7:30, take milk with a pinch of turmeric and pepper. You can also make a wonderful mix of 3 or 4 herbs like jadipatri, pepper, turmeric, and almonds, all of these crushed with cardamom, and just store it airtight. So every day you just have to take 1 teaspoon of this mix and add it to the milk and boil and drink. Okay. Otherwise, you can also have soaked almonds. And so everywhere we are trying to incorporate some protein in your diet. So either it's milk protein or protein from the nuts. And then around 8:30, you can switch to some solid diet like idli, pesarattu, or red rice dosa. Make sure that your idli or dosa is from complex carbohydrates, where you use some amount of red rice or millet. Please don't use polished rice. So make sure that your idli and dosas are much more richer in nutrients. Okay. Otherwise, your breakfast has to be a protein based, where it can be either pesarattu, predominantly pesarattu, once a week or once a fortnight. Adai with the multigrain dal is fine. Okay. Millet upma, if you make the millet upma, make sure that you're having a lot of vegetables in it and also some amount of dal in it. Upma or even pongal is fine. So somewhere in a day, you should have something green, something with ginger, and some amount of protein. So if you're a non-vegetarian, you can have either egg or for breakfast, egg is the best option. If you're a vegetarian, ensure that there is some boiled peanuts or boiled green gram or a cup of sambar. So somewhere try to balance protein amount and the carbohydrates and vegetables. Make sure that all of these are there in your breakfast, lunch and dinner. Around 10:30, the lemon tea or spiced buttermilk, and then 11:30, fruit, either 1 cup. By now, you can switch to other fruits, other seasonal fruits also, provided there is no phlegm in your body. Okay, and if there is no other symptom of cold should be there, only then you can switch to other fruits. Otherwise, play safe with the fruit option. 1 o'clock, unpolished rice. So if you're a vegetarian, then it's dal, thick sambar or kootu. If you're a non-vegetarian, a fish korambu or chicken curry, make sure that none of these are fried and with heavy oil. Make it as light and as simple as possible. And never leave off the rasam and the vegetables in your lunch. And around 4 o'clock, it's mint or lemon or any herbal tea. 5 o'clock, it's cashew nuts or walnuts or seeds ball or roasted gram. Cashew nuts specifically because it is one of the nut which is very rich in zinc. So it's important to incorporate cashew nuts as much as possible on a regular basis. And 7 o'clock, it's pongal or dal khichdi or upma. It's still not the time to introduce things like rotis because it's very dry, and rotis are generally foods for winter. So it's best to stick to, even if you want to have wheat, please have it in the form of upma. Okay, so make sure that whatever food you're making, it has to have some amount of water content in it. And 9 o'clock, you can have another glass of milk. Milk should never be taken without spice according to Ayurveda, mainly because as much as milk is nourishing, it also has the tendency to increase kapha in the body. So to moderate the dosha, you always take it with some amount of spices. So post COVID, you're having at least 2 glasses of milk and some amount of buttermilk in a day, and you are introducing non-veg. If you think you have the ability to digest, then you can start introducing non-veg during these days. Okay, so these are common symptoms, other symptoms that people have, like dry mouth and loss of saliva. So to increase saliva, you can take imli candy, but you have to make sure that you don't overdo it. Maximum limit is only 3 golis in a day. The other thing is amla candy. Nowadays, you're getting too much of the sweetened amla. However, that doesn't help in increasing the saliva, but it's better if you can just get the dried amla with slightly salted ones. These are even they also induce digestion, so these are also good. And then licorice sticks. So if you have sore throat or dry mouth, then you can constantly chew on licorice sticks. That's also a good option. So if you have sore throat, hot soups and rasam, and steam inhalation with lemon peel, turmeric and ginger slice. Personally, someone in my family was affected and she was gasping for breath, and with one inhalation she could find a lot of difference in her breathing. So this is what helped. But if you don't have COVID, do it just once a week, because it's also very heating the system. It heats up the entire nasal area. So use it in a limitation. Only if you're affected with COVID, then do it at least twice or thrice. Okay, and then warm water gargling, not just with salt, also add turmeric. And then drinking warm water boiled with clove and cinnamon sticks through the day is also very, very helpful. So when there is no help around and you don't have anybody to cook or do anything for you, then these are things that you can do. Talisadi Churnam is something that is available abundant in the market, in the Ayurvedic stores and also online. So if you don't know to make any other types of rasam, just do the normal rasam and add half teaspoon of Talisadi Churnam to 2 cups of rasam and consume this rasam. And you can also make a powder of pepper and jeera, slightly roast it and then powder it. And whenever you take rice, take it hot and add the powder and add a teaspoon of ghee and just make a kootu. So you're getting the spices, you're getting some carbs, and you're getting your vegetable and dal. So this is another simple meal that you can repeat for lunch and dinner also. So it's just rice and a kootu which has vegetables and moong dal. And to the rice, you're adding pepper and jeera powder. Okay, this is also very for people who are having difficulty in cooking and loss of appetite. They find it really helpful and more appealing. So this is something simple that you can incorporate. And then buy Angaya Podi. This is also available in the market, even in the grocery stores and also online. So if you don't know to make it on your own, then this is the best option that you can buy. You just have to add it to your hot rice with ghee or gingerly oil and take it along with kootu. Kootu is nothing but your vegetable and dal cooked together. Or you can also use the Angaya Podi in hot water or in buttermilk. So this is a mixture of dal, pepper, jeera and methi and neem flower. So if you don't have access to neem flower, then this is an easy option for you. Then one more remedy is Ashtachurnam. This is also a mix of 8 herbal remedies, basically from the astringent family, like your pepper and dry ginger and all of these. So if you don't have access to make any of the churnams at home, then just buy Ashtachurnam, add it to your hot rice along with ghee or gingerly oil. Ghee is something that you can use only if the flame is really low, or only if there is no flame. If you have the tendency to cough up too often, then keep the ghee really low, say less than half teaspoon in a day, or even avoid it for some days. Okay. And herbal tea bags. There are also a lot of good companies, organic companies that are selling tulsi bags. So you can buy those bags and dip it in hot water. Along with that, just add some cloves and cinnamon stick and drink it twice or thrice in a day. So other simple option is to just make a one-pot meal like a dal khichdi, where there is vegetable, dal and rice and cooked with all spices. You can use it twice or even thrice in a day. So when there is no help around, please don't think that you are deprived of nutrition. You can work around it and make simple options. The only thing is you have to take it hot. So steam it and when you reuse in the same day, steam it and reuse it. But please do not make something and then refrigerate and use it for the next day or the third day. That's not something recommended. Try to ensure that your food is hot and fresh. So to curb constipation, which is also a major problem with COVID, warm water 2 to 3 liters in a day and vegetables with every meal, local greens with lunch, only with lunch, not with dinner. And because in dinner, your digestive ability is very less. If you're going to have greens in dinner, then that leads to some other complications. So take it only during the day. And spiced milk. Milk is also a laxative. So spiced milk will also help in curbing constipation. And whatever food you're taking, make sure it is soft cooked and mashed. Avoid anything that is dry for a while. Hair loss with COVID is inevitable and it takes almost 3 to 18 months for recovery. Okay, so if you're a person who's already having hair loss even before COVID, then it takes up to 18 months for recovery. And if you're a person who's quite healthy, but your hair loss is because of COVID, then it takes 3 to 6 months. So to correct your hair loss, you have to correct your nutritional imbalances with diet and supplements. And you have to stop worrying and relax the mind, because that's also a major cause of hair loss. And what happens with COVID is something that I saw today from a dermatologist. She says it stops the growth phase of hair and triggers the falling phase. So it takes at least 6 months for recovery. Okay, so also use appropriate cleansers. Avoid any hair treatment during this phase. Don't think that in a month you are fine and you're normal, so you can do any of the procedures. It's not advisable. Immunity, all of us have question on this. Last time also I made a presentation on this. It's a long-term project and it depends on several factors. How clean your food is, especially it has to be free from chemicals. Your environment has to be clean. Your gut microbiome has to be at its best. And you need to have a sleep routine where you sleep at the right time and wake up at the right time. What is right time? At least sleep by 10 o'clock and wake up by 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning on a daily basis. And you need to have a healthy mindset, regular exercise, yoga, and manage stress on a daily basis. And sunlight exposure, vitamin D. For vitamin D, that's the only best option. Food has very limited amount of vitamin D. Your milk has vitamin D. Your eggs has vitamin D, and some amount of non-vegetarian food has vitamin D. But it is abundant only in sunlight. So make sure that you expose yourself to sunlight during sunrise and sunset with minimal clothing. And to prevent communicable disease, your immunity is a long-term project, as already said. So all of this will only help you to handle the communicable disease at much better level. Only social distancing and masking and all of these is going to help you in preventing the illness. Okay, so you're also reducing your ability to handle the disease and also to curb other things like your non-communicable disease. When it increases, then you're more prone to other disorders. So it's also high time we focus on those diseases. So never think that I have immunity, so I can go and expose myself to, no, I need not wear a mask, I can go out like that. We have to understand the difference between the communicable and non-communicable diseases. I hope I was presenting it
Yes,
as
this was
crisp and short as possible.
this was quite a bit of information, Sandhya, and I'm hoping that we are recording the session. So for all those people who think this will be available on YouTube shortly in our YouTube channel. So don't worry if you've not taken down the recipes and written down all that. This will be available on YouTube, and you can note it down then. Even otherwise, we'll give you the contact details of Sandhya, and you can always reach out to her. Now, I believe, Madhu, are you done with the presentation per se, Sandhya?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
open to questions.
Yes. So, Madhu, if you just want to take over, I think I'm seeing quite a few questions here. So, if
Yeah.
you can just help with that, that will be helpful.
Yeah, I'm gonna go from the beginning. There was a question about, do alkaline foods fight COVID and boost immunity?
Okay. So I come from the school of allopathy, and I also rely more on Siddha and Ayurveda, where there is no thing between alkaline and acidic foods. Okay. So when you mean alkali foods, it means more of raw vegetables and fruits, more of raw food. That's not something advisable during COVID phase. All that you have to take is cooked food and safe food and warm food and more of spices. So that's not something to the point. If I have to say, is alkali food helpful? I cannot say yes.
The next question is from Miriam. She's asthmatic and would like some guidance on food that would help battle chest colds specifically.
Can you repeat it?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
This is from someone who's asthmatic and would like to have some guidance on foods that would help them battle chest colds specifically.
Whatever I have mentioned in the diet chart, sample diet chart, along with it, the betel leaf decoction that I said, and all those herbal decoctions, all of those will be helpful in removing the phlegm from the chest.
This person wants to know if soy milk is a good substitute. Is it okay?
If the person is lactose intolerant and is non-allergic to soy, then yes.
Okay. Are there any food restrictions after and before the vaccination?
It's better to stay to the protocol where you take things warm and fresh and with a lot of spices, and also maintain the protein and complex carbohydrates ratio. That is better, but there is no such guidance given by the government of India or any of the research institutes. But it's better not to risk by eating anything that is processed, preserved, or with lots of colors, and anything that is cold, not cold by potency and also cold to touch, like ice creams or any milkshakes. Just because you're vaccinated, it's not the time to reach out to any of these processed food or junk food or anything that is cold to touch.
What are the foods rich in vitamin D, E, and zinc?
I think I've mentioned that in the
I
talk.
think D and zinc you did say. Is there anything specific for vitamin E?
Vitamin E. Vitamin E is you get it abundant when you take nuts and seeds on a daily basis. Also, all the cooking oils that you're using, your sunflower oil, your sesame oil, your groundnut oil, is also a good source of vitamin E. Just use them in moderation. None of the Indians are deficient in vitamin E, mostly because we all use enough amount of oil. We just have to ensure zinc and vitamin D, because even despite being Indians and having a tropical climate, we are missing out on vitamin D, mainly because we stay a lot indoors. So it's make sure that you get your vitamin D from sunlight by following traditional method where you apply oil and have some amount of sunlight exposure and then taking a bath. That's also helpful. Do it at least on a weekly basis, if not on a daily basis. And for vitamin A is also important, and you get it from lot of colorful vegetables and fruits and also some amount of dals. Okay, so that's why it's very important to eat your food from a wide range of variety and make the food as colorful as possible in a day, so you don't miss out on any of these nutrients.
This particular question is about that slide called recipe 3, which was about a recipe for like boiling ajwain, pepper, jeera in water and drinking. They are asking if this can be given every day, even if we don't have a cold.
Ajwain, pepper, and jeera. Yes, yes. Once or twice a day, you can have it.
And when you say spiced milk, what kind of spices do you mean to add?
Mainly, it's turmeric and pepper. A pinch of each of these to a glass of milk. You can also make a mix of cardamom, pepper, turmeric, and nutmeg. All of this together, along with some amount of saffron and nuts, your pistachios and almonds, all of these can be ground to a powder form and just store it in an airtight bottle, and every day just add quarter teaspoon of this to your milk and drink. So if you have children at home, you can make the same mixture along with palm sugar crystals and add 2 teaspoons of this to your milk and give it to children. So these are something that is being done on a traditional basis. If you check with your people at home about 20 years back, or if you check with all of those Siddha and Ayurveda practitioners or their families, this is how they always take milk. So if you don't have the capacity to make any of these mixes, then at least add a pinch of turmeric and pepper, or cardamom flavored milk is also great.
Does eating microgreens help?
Drinking.
Eating microgreens.
Eating, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, and how can vegetarians make up for the protein requirement?
With every meal, ensure that there is some amount of dal, say at least 30 to 40% of your meal. And with every snack, also ensure that there are things like roasted gram or some nuts and seeds. So that's how you can reach your protein needs. You can also have things like sattu, where you add the roasted Bengal gram powder to water and make it in a porridge form and drink. That's also a good thing to do. So for a vegetarian, you have to be really focused when it comes to protein. So you have to ensure that there is 2 cups of milk, at least 1 or 2 glasses of buttermilk, and with every meal there is a protein based side dish or a sabzi. And you can also make your breakfast or dinner protein rich by itself by making a pesarattu, which is predominantly your green gram. Adai is too heavy, so I would say once a week or once a fortnight only. It's better to have adai. Otherwise, it's pesarattu. Or you can also make your idlis with moong dal. That's also a good option.
Does Doodavalai leaves help?
Definitely, it helps. It's just that this program is for all people all over the world. I couldn't find the name, so I couldn't mention it. And it's also not something that is available to everyone. So if you have the access to Tuduvalai, then you can definitely use it. Either you make a decoction or a kashayam, boil it in water with the Karpuravalli thing, that with the ajwain kashayam that I mentioned, you can also add this. Or the simplest thing to do again is to chop the leaves finely and add it to your rasam.
I think that's all for the questions. A lot of comments saying it was a wonderful session, a very informative session. Just wanted Sandhya ma'am to know that everyone is quite appreciative of the time you've taken to put together this information. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity and time. It's the need of the hour, and thank you for organizing this session. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sandhya. Thanks for taking the time once again. And it was wonderful having you with this special session on COVID. For all those people who've not seen our earlier sessions last year, we used to run a series called Huddles, and it's available on our YouTube channel. And Sandhya was one of the guests for one of those sessions there as well. So I take it that this actually covers the entire Tamil Nadu government advisory that they have come up with, right? So I think that's very helpful. And thank you everybody for joining us at this session. We hope this has been useful to all of you. We want to do more of these sessions in the future. So on your screen, you're seeing the contact details of Sandhya, wellnesswithsandhya.com, and feel free to reach out to her and she'll be happy to help you with your specific requirements. And I hope you will reflect on this, see that see what you can do in your daily lives. I'm sure there's a lot of information in here, so you really need to visit it again and again to see what can be built into your daily routine. And anyway, and on the other side, feel free to contact BioBasics as well. We are that's our contact details right there on your screen, and we'll be happy to answer your questions if there are. So once again, thank you everybody. If Sandhya, any last words, or shall we?
Last words. Oh,
Again,
For now,
no, I think I'm done. And thank you all for listening and for giving this opportunity. Thank you so much. If this
Awesome.
helps, I'm happy and grateful.
Okay. Thanks, Sandhya. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.